All right, we are now recording. Okay, I'm going to go into the presentation mode, but at some points I may pop out of it. We'll just work out of here. No big deal. All right, so I have been using vision boards for a few years now, and they have become increasingly effective, and the process of creating them has become more and more meaningful. So that's why I started sharing with other people. And whether you've done a vision board or not, I think a lot of this might be additions that you can make to your own or new ideas. We'll see what happens. That is my 2018 vision board. I'm going to show you exactly how I created it. So we're going to cover these things tonight. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Why am I here? What's a vision board? What is feng shui? So why am I adding this feng shui twist to the vision board? Things to consider when creating yours. We're actually going to build one together. We're going to hop on. We're going to build one digitally. We're not actually going to complete one. That would take far too long, but I'm going to show you step by step exactly how we do it. And then I'm going to explain some ways that I use the vision board and ways that you can use it. And there's an opportunity to win a prize, a really fun prize at the end. Wow. All right, so who am I? I am a mama to three. We were just talking about teenagers, and I am just entering that stage. My girls are 13 and 10, and my son is 4. So we have quite the age range. Yeah, it's fun. Actually, just yesterday, I was noting that we were dealing with just normal hormonal teen, and then the issues of 4-year-old. And I was like, this is perfect. Like, I can't get wrapped up in one thing. I just got to manage too many developmental stages. So it's good. I actually did marry my high school sweetheart. I'm one of those. As strange as it may seem, my parents were actually high school sweethearts too. How about that? And my brother married. It's like, we're just like this weird, quirky family. So Stuart and I have been together now longer than we've been apart. So we're really figuring out this life path thing together. Before I went into entrepreneurship in the online world, so network marketing, life coaching, and such, I was in women's health. I was really passionate about pregnancy, birth, postpartum. That was my career. So now I am a coach and mentor as well as a network marketer. The concept we're really looking at tonight is all about vision, hence the vision board. And I love this quote. It says that vision is 10 to 100 times more effective than goal setting. Vision is what creates the green lights to reach your goals. I know a few of you on here are familiar with network marketing, so you may know Richard Bliss Brooke. But when he gave this quote, I just wrapped my head around. I could see the vision of these green lights, right? When you create that vision, when you feel that vision, you really create the green light to reach the goal. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And we're not just going to make something that's pretty. We're going to really look at the ways you can make it effective. Because in the end, we don't really care what it looks like. We care what it means. We want you to create those green lights to get to the life that you want to have. And Elizabeth Ryder says, creating a sacred space that displays what you want actually does bring it to life. What we focus on expands. When you create a vision board and place it in a space where you see it often, you essentially end up doing short visualization exercises throughout the day. And if I move my seltzer water here, I actually don't think it's light enough to show you. But I'm sitting at my desk in my office, and if I just turn my computer, my vision board is there in this little nook above my printer. And so anytime I come into my office or work at my desk, it's there. And so just seeing it based on the process I'm going to show you, I don't just look at it and go, oh, that looks nice. It actually has feeling to me, and it has purpose and intention. And you'll see how many layers it has in the coming slides here. And again, like for some people, the magic in creating a vision board is as much in the making as it is in the product itself. So we do a lot of work, we do a lot of processing, we do a lot of thinking and planning per se, but creating a vision in the creation of the vision board, and that itself is it's really powerful. That's where we're creating intention, right? Intention is everything. So some vision board ideas, you could create a vision board just for your family, like how you want your year to go with your family. Or it doesn't have to even be a year. A lot of us do them by year, but it could be a vision board for your life. For instance, you'll see on my vision board, I have a vision board of my dream home and exactly what it feels like and looks like. And it's really tangible to me. So that's a vision board that I don't anticipate changing. It's not like my 2018 board, it's my dream home vision board. So you can do them in all different sort of categories, or you can pull all of these categories into your one vision board. So that's sort of what I've done in my vision board that you saw earlier. There is a vision board for, like I said, my dream home, and then there's also a vision board for my business goals for the year. So you can get really specific or you can go really broad with this. Your vision board should make you feel something when you look at it. That was that last little bit on this slide. Again, I hope you're getting that idea that it's not just about creating something pretty or using whatever magazine scraps you might have on hand. It's about feeling something when you look at it so that you're inspired to take whatever action you need to take to bring the vision to life. And this concept of feng shui is really important to me. It has played such a major role in my life. So it's a practice based on the idea that our homes are a mirror of what's happening inside us. The purpose of feng shui is to get your environment in alignment with who you are and where you want to go, to harmonize your energy with your home's energy. So a lot of feng shui is focused on the home, and I've used it with mind-blowing results, like absolutely insane results. Sometimes I have to slow down the feng shui because when I really practice it, things happen so fast that I can't keep up. So we can also use feng shui not just in our home, but on our desk or our computer desktop or our car. And essentially, there are a couple different kinds of feng shui, but we are using the one that uses the Bagua map. So that's this map here. So essentially, we're taking these 9 boxes and we're placing it on whatever it is that we're using. We're placing it on our home, we're placing it in our car, we're placing it on our desk, we're placing it on our vision board. So now you're kind of getting the idea of how we move feng shui into the vision board by using these 9 quadrants. And so you don't have to know this really well. This is a Bagua map that I created, but they're all over the internet. So you can just Google it. You're also going to get a PDF of this whole slideshow. So you'll have a picture of this to refer to. But things like the number category here, certainly the color category, definitely the placement, but these kinds of things you might weave into your vision board, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So there's some things to consider here, and one of the most important things, I didn't ask you all, but if you don't have a pen and paper, run and get one now. And I'm actually I always write down the answers to the questions for me, with you, because it's fun to do it over and over again. Sometimes they change a little. So we're going to answer a series of like 6 questions, maybe. I can't quite remember. Just what I want you to do is just get your pen and paper, jot down 1 to 3 things that pop into your mind. So how do you want to feel in 2018? The first word that pops into your mind might be peaceful. It might be productive. It might be accomplished.
Abundant.
What's that?
Abundant.
Abundant. I love it. Perfect. So that's a great word for your year. Now you can have words that apply for your year, or they can apply much bigger, which I do a lot of work with the why, and I believe you can get your why down to one word. So go ahead and write just a couple words on a piece of paper. I like abundant. I'm going to write that down too right now. All right. The next question, just write like 1 to 3 things that pop into your mind. What's on your plate, and do you want to keep it there? So like I said, I know a couple of you are network marketers. So that's a business you either want to keep on your plate or not. A couple of you are parents. So is that something you want to keep on your plate or not? Maybe you're in a relationship. Maybe you run a nonprofit. Maybe you volunteer for a board of whatever. So literally, like, what is in your life, and do you want to keep it there?
What if there's not anything that really pops up in terms of not wanting in your life?
That's fine. It's just a good time to sort of evaluate, like a lot of us, especially now, have multiple streams of income, right? Like we don't just have one stream of income, we have multiples, or we volunteer in lots of places. So this is just an opportunity for us to go, is that still fulfilling me the way it was intended to when I started it? Am I serving that piece of my life the best way that I can? Do I want to keep it there? So it's totally fine if you don't want to take anything off. All right, the next question is, what big goals do you strive for? And the key here is big. So you might have a really big income goal. You might have a really big goal to write a book. You might have a really big goal to open a gallery in New York City, like a big goal, one that almost feels so big that it's a little crazy. And then what are some of the small goals you have? Or non-negotiables, I call them, like to keep my family fed and healthy. Maybe to, I'll give you examples of mine. My brain is freezing right now. But things that are not like so big. They're more like, I want to start a blog. Like starting a blog is a little smaller than writing a book. Some of the things that maybe are a little more manageable, or they feel non-negotiable to you. Like, this is something I will always keep on my plate no matter how it affects everything else in my life. And you might come up with like 20 more questions of concepts that you want to add to your vision board. But I'm using these because I'm going to show you how they play into my vision board. There's 2 more questions here. So one is, what do you want to remember or check in with? So Maya, your word was abundant, right? So you might want, what's that?
It's pronounced my tay.
My tay. Oh, beautiful. So your word, abundant, you might want to see or have a picture that represents abundance to you in a way that when you see it, you're sort of checking in with your version of abundance. Or as you'll see, and you might come up with more answers to these when you see what I've done, something that you want to remember to keep on track. Like it could be a mantra, like I am I am wise, I am strong, I am what I need to be. It could be something like that you just want to keep reminding yourself of. And the last question is, do you have a word for the year? So sometimes how you want to feel or your why, in the work that I do is different than your word for the year. So for instance, my Y word is freedom. My Y of freedom is something that I will strive for the rest of my life, and live in many, many ways. So by strive for, I mean always in expanding and growing that sense of freedom. But my word for this year is support. I've really decided to focus my year on support, being in support and receiving support. So now I want to show you how these things sort of fall into my vision board. So again, my Y word, my sort of guiding life word is free. So for me, when I look at this vision board, it feels free. I actually had a few different versions that I looked at and I was like, ugh, they don't feel open and expansive and joyful and all those things that free mean to me. And so I took out a lot, I put in a lot of white spaces, and when I see this, I feel free. But the others here are a little more specific. So on my plate, I have my coaching program. Oops, sorry, I went too fast. I have my coaching program, my website, my podcast, my blog, things that are just on my plate, and I want to keep them there because they're really meaningful to what I do. Also on my plate, it's this green box here, to me, represents what I believe is the purpose. Now, some people have a little different definition of the why and the purpose, but to me, they're very different. So my purpose is to hold space for growth. So this picture of the ferns to me represents space in which growth is blooming, right? It doesn't have to represent that to you, but it does to me. And so I know what that means when I see it. So on my plate is always my purpose. That's really important in everything I do. I want to make sure I'm holding space for growth. That little vision board down there is a vision board for my network marketing business. So that's on my plate and I want to keep it there. My big goal I mentioned to you is my dream home. So that there is a vision board of my dream home. Another big goal goes back down to my vision board for my business and my life purpose. So I have a really big goal for my network marketing business this year. So it kind of falls into that category. So some of these are going to fall into more than one category. Some small goals and non-negotiables. My marriage, like that needs to always come before. So for instance, before the blog and the podcast come sort of the non-negotiables, my marriage. In some ways, these are my small goals because they are non-negotiable in the sense that I'm going to record the podcast and write the blog before I go skiing. So it all kind of layers in different ways. This question here says, are you living your purpose? So to me, that's non-negotiable. If I'm saying yes or no to a project or an opportunity or an experience, I want it to be in alignment with my purpose. So that's why to me, that is a non-negotiable. And of course, my children. Now, when you look and remember the Bagua map, these are all falling into the Bagua map. This is the family area. This is the abundance area. So not like paying the bills money, that goes here in family, but abundance, wealth and abundance, and gratitude. So my question there is, what are you grateful for? And my vision there is the abundant vision of this home that I have. So you can see how these, like, this is the career area. So for me, my network marketing business and my purpose are really important to my career. The fame and reputation is up here. I hope you can see my little mouse swirling. Fame and reputation is here, which is like, how do I put myself out in the world and represent who I am and what I do? And so I do that through the podcast and the blog and the coaching work. All right, so my word of the year, you maybe didn't even notice it, but I put all these beautiful flowers and plants in the middle because for me, they just vibrate. I also use the Feng Shui Bagua colors to create that in the middle. And my word of the year is in the middle there, and it's support. And remember to check in with. Those are all my questions. What are you grateful for? I'm a question girl, so there's a lot of questions in my life. I want to remember to check in with sort of my angels and my universe and my spirit guides. And honestly, I don't even know who all the people are who help me think the thoughts I think, but I thank them because it's amazing stuff. So I just want to remember to check in with all those guides who are helping me along the way. My word of the year. Let's see, what else did I do here? Do you already know is a question I put in the knowledge and self-cultivation area. So sometimes we ask questions or we get confused. We get into a place where we're spiraling away from what we already know. It's our self-knowledge. So I wanted to remind myself to ask that question, are you getting lost somewhere, but you really already know the answer? And I think this is the last one I circled here. This is the love and relationship area. And so the question here is, what would love do? And so you can see now, I hope from looking at my vision board, that it all has purpose and much of it is laid out in the Feng Shui Bagua. But the one thing that I think is really cool about the way I'm going to teach you to do a vision board digitally is that I'm going to show you a way to not only have a vision, but have a map of how to get there. And it'll make much more sense when we look at it. But using this as an example, if you see a beautiful picture in a magazine or a catalog or a TV screen or a billboard, but you have no idea where it is, it's going to be really hard to get there, right? You could spend your whole life trying to get to this beautiful canyon. But if you don't have a map to get there or know where it is, it's pretty likely that you're never going to stumble across it, right? So we can have a really beautiful vision, but if we don't have a map to get there, if we don't have an action plan, it's kind of just a pretty map that's not real. It's just a pretty picture, a pretty vision. But what we really want, what I want for you, is to create a vision board that's effective, right? I want you to get to the end of the year and say, not only was I guided by my vision, but I had some steps to get there, to make it happen. So that's what I want to show you, a tool that I use in here. So now we're going to build together. I'm going to come off screen share, but we're going to use Google Drive. We're going to use a website called Pexels, which is free stock images, beautiful stock images. Some things you might like to use, like I created all those gold questions in an app called WordSwag. Unsplash is another place with really cool stock photos. And we're going to, like I said, we're just going to escape here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another tab. Does anyone have any questions or confusion, or did I go too fast, or was it any comments, anything come up for you before we move on to the next step? Alrighty. So, do you all have a Gmail? I can't remember from your emails. A Gmail account?
Yep.
Maite, you do. And Bob, do you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So when you go into Google, you're going to click these little boxes and, whoops, I have to get our pictures out of the way, and go to Google Drive. If you haven't used Google Drive, it's an amazing tool. I use it for, I created the presentation. I used to use Keynote on my Mac. But I created it in Google Drive because why not? I can access it from anywhere. It's super easy. It automatically saves as I'm working. Google Drive is amazing. So I'm going to click New here. And remember, you're going to have the recording, so you will have a sense, you'll be able to go back and sort of play with it again. We're going to go down to more because we don't actually want any of these things. What we want is Google Drawings. We can close this one because now we have a board. Now, when you're in Google Drawings, has anyone used it before?
Nope.
So cool. You're going to love it. You can change the shape here, but I tend to for mine, I just left it how it was. And it worked perfectly in the 8x10 frame that I put it in. So you can change the shape here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go, well, I'm going to title it 2018 Vision Board. As you can see right here, it says all changes saved in Drive because it's just automatically saving every like 2 seconds, which is so cool because I'm sure you've all had the experience in which you lose an entire document or college paper or something terrible. So I love that. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a table. And the Bagua was 3x3, so 9 boxes. So we're going to make it 9 boxes. Now, if you decide that you don't want to follow this digital format, you can still use all those concepts of feng shui and creation in creating a tangible product. Like you can, paste your pictures and whatever. But I'm showing you how I do it digitally and how I use the map feature and yada, yada. So that's the first thing I do is I create the boxes because that's going to guide me. One thing I did in my vision board, because remember how my background was all white? Well, I didn't want the lines, but I also wanted to remember where the quadrants were. So I took this tool and I chose shapes and I made white boxes. So it makes them blue by default. And I just changed the color to white. And then I hit, I'm on a Mac, so I hit Command C to copy and then Command V to paste so that I could have a white background. Now I could just create one big white background, but then I'd lose all my quadrants, right? And I wanted to keep those so that I had some guideline. So while I do this, here's where we're gonna get interactive and hopefully some of you are willing to share some of what you wrote. If you're not, that's fine. I can just make stuff up. I'm pretty good at that. But, well, let's use, well, we already talked about abundant, but Maite, was there another question that you answered and are willing to share?
Sure. So the first question? So
any question.
All right. Well, I mean, you know what my word for the year is. It is abundance.
So in feng shui, oh, that's another thing I do. So I upload from the computer. I picked that little picture box. I'm slightly organized, but sometimes I forget where I put stuff. I don't know if you could see all that. But I upload from my computer somewhere, or from, like, I take a picture from the internet, or you could have something next to you on paper. But while I'm working, I put the Bagua map next to my board so that I have some guidance. So your word is abundant or abundance, which however you choose to, whatever resonates with you more. There's so many things you could do with that word. Let's say you were just using the word. And then there's all the font tools. That doesn't seem like a very abundant font to me. But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. So you're choosing a font that feels really good to everything. You just want to feel good to you. But I'm not going to go through like what feels good right now because I really just want you to learn and be able to go do it. But for instance, you could make this like in feng shui, a color of abundance is purple. So you could choose to write it in purple. So the more elements of feng shui you add in, I believe the more powerful it would be. Now you could choose to keep your word in the center because it's like your center. You could choose to make sure you have a picture or a word up here in the wealth and prosperity.
let me ask Amanda. So when you said purple, you're picking it up from that quadrant.
Yeah, so simple, right? I added the colors right into my Bagua map. So purple, red, pink, gray. Now the grays and the blacks here are similar, but children and creativity is actually white and sort of light gray. So I just used a light gray. Helpful people is gray, black, career is black. So yeah, exactly. I just transfer the colors. So and you can, so I chose like the sort of dominant color, but the color for the wealth and prosperity, you can see in the words, if you can read, I know it's small, but it does say purple, green, and gold. So anytime you're working in that quadrant, it's good to add those colors. Same with your house or your car or whatever. I find that color is the quickest, and it's the quickest way to use feng shui effectively. So if you had a big gold statue and you went and put it in your wealth and prosperity area, that can have a really big impact. So it does say here the colors in different. So red, oh, we have a new guest. Feel free to say hello and either keep your video on or off. We have moved into the creation part of the vision board. So, but you'll get the replay and you'll be able to see everything that came prior. So, oh, maybe if everyone can just mute. Yeah, sometimes you get a little feedback. So remember I told you about the site Pexels? Well, I bookmark everything, like the bookmark queen. So Pexels is the site. And so I always just type in a word. I spelled it wrong. And something might come up, right? Like these are things that they've defined as abundance. And definitely unmute anytime you need to say something. But I use these stock images. Somehow my picture got really big here. So when you're in Pexels, you can either click download and download one of the pictures, or do you know how to take a screenshot on your computer? Are you on a Mac or a PC?
I'm on a Mac.
Perfect. Well, I could teach you really easy, and it's my favorite tool in the world. Bob, are you on a Mac or a PC?
He's muted.
Yeah.
Mac.
Perfect. And our new guest, I don't know your first name, or maybe that is your first name and I'm pronouncing it wrong, like Maite, but Guru Joda. I'm terrible with names. So anyway, the way you take a screenshot on a Mac is to hit Command Shift 4. If you hit Command Shift 3, it takes a picture of your whole screen. Command Shift 4, do you see this little guy?
Uh-huh.
Now I can just take a screenshot of what I want. Bam. Now on a Mac, it will automatically go to your desktop, but if it doesn't, you can just search screenshot in your computer. So now when I go back to my vision board, and again, you'll find a picture that resonates with you. I'm just grabbing for the purposes of and then I'll click upload from computer. Now the screenshot went right to my desktop. I don't know if you can see this part. You might not be able to. And so I bring that picture from the stock photos. So you can also just use Google Photos. Hello, friends. You can also just use Google Photos, like images, but to be like legally compliant in this video. And anywhere I choose to share my vision board, I want to make sure I'm using stock photos. So that's why I suggest Pexels and Unsplash. So then you just sort of drag your images where you want them. You can size them. You can play with them in tons of ways. So if you go to format options, you're going to see lots of ways to play with your photo. Okay. And so now comes the really fun part. Well, for me. Well, it's all fun for me. But I love this part. So, Maite, am I saying it right now?
Yes.
Okay. we want you to have a map for your word, right? For abundance. And so I suggest, remember I had the map on the side, we use the comment section. And so in the comment section, I would suggest that you write yourself some action steps that are going to lead you to abundance. So you are a network marketer, correct?
Yes.
So I hope you don't mind me sharing that. But you might write daily action, vision, meditation. So you can use this comment section to sort of guide as your action step to create what you put on your board, right? So when you look at your board on your wall, you're not going to see the comment section, but you've done the work.
Comment section, Amanda.
Oh, it's right here. Can you see this right here?
I see it, but how did you get there?
Okay, so I'm just going to click comment, and that's going to pop over to the side here. Here's our map on the side. Okay. New guest, do you mind just saying your name so I don't keep... Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
This is not my name. I'm on my husband's Zoom.
Okay.
So I am Devamrit. Dev.
Dev. Okay, well, thank you for making it simple for me. So in the workshop before, I just explained that I want this vision board to be effective for you, not just beautiful. So one of the ways I do that is to now can you see when I go here? Can you see my mouse? Oh, our pictures might be in front of it. So grab our pictures and move them to the left.
Okay, all right.
Or the bottom. And can you see this right here?
Yes, okay. Now.
Okay, so when I hit comment, I create a new comment. So, Bob, do you have one thing you want to share? Do you have anything you want to share from those questions we asked?
Sure. Well, one thing that I'm dealing with is reliability. I grew up and my father repeated over and over again as I was growing up that I was unreliable. So I have this image of not being reliable. And guess what? I'm fulfilling his negative, prediction for me. So my goals for the new year are to be more reliable with running my business. And that means being on time or early. I think like the mantra that you were talking about would be probably something like I am reliable, because I'm trying to, reprogram my past programming.
Perfect. So you actually gave the most perfect example for what I wanted to explain next. So thank you for that. So in your case, let's see, what I heard you say was to be more reliable in my business. So that was one of the places that you wanted to be more reliable. Mm-hmm. So you might choose to work in this career gua. And so, Dev, we put up, I don't know if you're familiar with, are you familiar with feng shui? You can just up or down or sideways. Sort of, a little bit. I think I remember you seeing that in your form. So in the PDF that you're going to get in the recording after this, you'll see a Bagua map. And so, Bob, you can see the career section is here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I want to give you a couple ways that you can play with this a little bit. One way would be to put a mantra in the career section. So do you have a mantra about, I know you just said, I am reliable. Is that, like that could be it, or it could be people can count, it could be a full sentence. You could put in a full whole sentence about like, people can count on me to do what I said I was going to do and show up fully or whatever. But we'll just go with I am reliable. Okay, so then we make it pretty in whatever way we want. It doesn't really matter. We make it pretty so that we feel good about it. And then here's something I want to just allow you to play with a little. Now, this is where some people can get like overwhelmed because they start thinking, what if I do it wrong? What if I put it in the wrong gua? What if? Well, the most important thing I want you to take away from this entire workshop is that you can't do anything wrong. You can't. There's so many ways. What matters is that it's meaningful to you. So you might write, I am reliable, in your career section, and then you might take a picture of a partnership, right? Like two people who, or well, I don't know, let's see, let's find a different handshake. A handshake that's like, I made a deal, I said I would be here, and I'm gonna show up. So you might take a picture and you might bring that in. I should have cleared my desktop mess before I did this for you. So you might do this. I flipped it upside down because I pulled it too far up. There we go. You might put it in your career area, but you might also nudge it over here to your helpful people area, right? Like, I am going to ask that the people, the guides in my life, God, spirit, animal friends, little angels, whoever it be, to help me stay reliable in the things that I say I will do. So you might kind of nudge it over here because you're like, look, I've been trying to face this demon my whole life and I need a little help. So you might represent it somewhere here. You could also, like I heard you say something about being on time. So you could also just, I like this clock with the little hearts there. It really doesn't matter because we're not going for perfection in this board. So you might put sort of the concept of partnership, and I made a deal and I said I would do something, so here I am. You could put that in helpful people. You could also put that in love and partnerships, because that's not all about romantic love. That's about the partnerships you create with any human being. And so you might want to put something in that area that represents you showing up in a partnership. Let's say you are a coach or a yoga teacher or whatever. Put something to represent the fact that you are going to show up in that partnership and you are going to be reliable. So there's so many places. You could put it in fame and reputation and be like, I am going to be known for being reliable. When people think about Bob, they're going to think he's reliable. So it's really what's most important and most meaningful to you, and what gives you that feeling of this is inspiring me to stick to my word and be reliable. But like in career, I'm assuming you're showing up for things that have to, like on time, for things that maybe are meetings or coffee chats or classes. And so you might just put a clock in. You can also, I have a mentor who I really love who writes herself a letter every year, and she writes it from the perspective of having completed the task, right? So she opens at the end of every year, but she wrote it at the beginning. And it says things like, oh my God, I'm terrible like typing on demand. What an incredible year, Bob. You showed up for everyone you promised to, and your business thrived because of it. Does that make sense that you can sort of like speak it as if it's already done, right? And so you can put that right onto your vision board. Or you could make that part of your map and you could put that over here in the comments. But in your case, what I would suggest you do, so we'll just go to this clock picture and we'll hit comment, add comment. And we have a new comment here. And so I might suggest you write some ways that you're going to be reliable. Keep a calendar.
So Amanda, let me ask you, so the
Yeah.
comment section just has to do so that when you pull it up on your computer, you have those things available to you as well? Because I mean, when you print it out and you put it on your board, you're not going to have the comments. Right?
Absolutely, you're not going to have the comments. So you can refer back to it on your computer, or I would say let's say you walk in your office, in my case, and you look at your vision board and you want to turn away because you're completely failing at everything you thought your vision board should be, right? It's like repulsing you at this point because you're like, this is not happening the way I visioned. That might be an opportunity for you to go into the digital document and remind yourself what the map was. Where am I off track here?
Okay, I got it. I'm sorry. I remember what you were saying. So the vision board obviously is your vision.
Mm-hmm.
The map, i.e. comments, are the things that are going to get you there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so you could even go as far as to like print those and put them next to your vision board. For me, I just want them to be like the underlying tone and a resource to go back to. There's so many ways that you could use that. But I think one thing that happens for a lot of people in vision boards is that they get really excited about making something beautiful, and they do it oftentimes with friends and magazines, and like all that is awesome, but if it doesn't actually get you the vision, you just feel kind of yucky about it at the end of the year. You're like,
You don't pay attention to it. I have two in my office right now, one right next to my desk, and half the time I don't even look at it, and the other one was from a few years ago, and it was meaningful, but nothing has happened. So it's not working the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah. And so this is
or
one
I'm not working the way that I'm supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
here's one way. This may or may not work for you. It's an idea and you're going to try it and you're going to see how it goes. But definitely tap into your feelings, right? When you see your vision board, if you're getting a feeling of like, yes, it looks amazing, except that bottom right corner, like things are not going well in the travel scene. And then you go back to your map and you're like, oh, I said I was going to always hire a travel agent when traveling. And I haven't done that. I keep booking my own travel and it's a disaster. So it's like kind of just like a way for you to check back in with yourself. And that's why, like I said at the beginning, sometimes the process of making it is as important as the product itself. Okay, so now we're just going to pop back over to our presentation here. We're going to finish up because we're coming up on the hour. So how do you use it, right? Well, I guess I shouldn't have done that. Does anyone have other questions before we leave that sort of creation part? Anything?
I think it'll be helpful to get the recording.
Yeah.
To be able to sort of play around with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I might recommend listening to one of the other recordings too. Dev, I had said that when I send the replay, I'll send the replay from the last 2 classes as well. Okay. So there may be things that came up in that class that didn't come up tonight. I don't even remember. That could be helpful for you to hear someone else's question or someone else's idea. And I've even, tweaked it and played with it in different ways in presentation because that's what we do. It's a tiny bit different every time we're growing. So all those recordings may be helpful to you. So yeah, and reach out to me anytime. I think you all by now know how to find me. And if not, make sure you speak up. So let's just look here quickly at some ways that I use the vision board that I've created. So I use it as a phone lock screen, so the back of my phone or my phone lock, either one. You can use it as a computer desktop picture. You can print it, ta-da, for your wall. You can print it to a place you're going to see a lot: your refrigerator, your night table, your bathroom mirror, your steering wheel, the inside of your wallet. There's so many places. I put one on my planner, and then I also put one at the beginning of my life coaching book, like my client book, because I want to make sure that my vision and my goals, and remember I talked a lot about, am I holding space for growth? And all those things are really important to me when I'm working with clients. So I put one at the beginning of my client book. Like, if the more places you put them that feel important to you, the better you're going to remember to put into action that whole map that you created. You can also ask a friend to help. So you could ask your partner or your friend or your coworker or someone else to like periodically text you a picture of your vision board, like unexpectedly, or to say like, maybe they have a copy of it and they know that one of your goals is to travel to the Caribbean this year. Hey, how's it going looking for that trip? Or, so you can ask someone to be helpful to you in this process. Like, the more you do, the more things on your vision board are going to come to light. And that sort of sums up some ideas that I have. You could probably think of tons more ideas to use for the vision board. So I just print it from my home computer. If you don't have a home computer, you can, and the thing I love, like I used to create a like beautiful big paper vision board, but it was only one, and I had to it only had one home. Now I can digitally, I can use it in so many ways. So I love that. And I'm getting the exact picture, image, font, like all the things that feel good to me. So now what? Now it's your turn. So you got to go make the magic happen. And when you finish your board, if you send me a picture of it in the next, well, I was saying before the end of the year, but that actually, yeah, I'm going to stick to that. So not the year, the month. By January 31st, if you send me a picture of your vision board, I'm going to enter you to win an entire year of monthly vision board check-ins. So that last little piece about accountability, I'm going to be that for you. We'll come on Zoom once a month, and we'll just do a check-in of how things are going for you. If you need any ideas, if you need any sort of mastermind problem solving around things that aren't working for you or don't feel good for you, we can jump in there together and just do a vision board check-in. So that is a gift I'm giving to someone who does actually complete a vision board, because there will be people who learned something but didn't actually create it. And so I want to reward someone who did the work of creating. And if you had lots of fun today and you want to stay connected, there's lots of ways to do that. My website has a weekly blog. It also has a podcast, which is there and on iTunes. So you can listen to that. It's co-hosted with another entrepreneur, mamapreneur that I work with. My Facebook business page and my personal page are ways to connect with me and see what I'm up to. I use Instagram, if you're on Instagram, to ask a lot of questions. So my Instagram account is a balance of like my family life and beautiful pictures and questions. So I'm constantly asking you questions and stimulating you to think about your life and where you're headed and where you want to go, and reflections. So that's a good place to check in. I have a 9-week one-on-one coaching program called Live Your Why. So we work together to give you a good understanding of your why and how to really live it. Again, like the vision board, right? You can create a vision board, but how do you really live it? And so a lot of people will come up with a why, but then they don't really live it. And that's the part that's super important to me. And of course, I am a passionate network marketer. So that's another fun way to work together. But most importantly, I want you to go make 2018 amazing, whether it's with or without a vision board. And that is it.
That was awesome.
I'm so glad. I'm going to stop the share. And I'm actually going to stop the recording.